Welcome back to Mark Fisher Outdoors, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. I'm down here in the barn and I'm ready to pull out my SD card and start looking at my footage from the last couple of days at Pickwick to do my tournament recap video. Not going to be pretty, but still going to do it, right? But I have been thinking for the last couple of weeks about why you should think about putting a GoPro camera in your boat. And you're saying, Mark, I'm not doing YouTube stuff. I don't put that stuff out. I'm not a content creator. Why would I want to have a camera in my boat? I've got 3 reasons that I think you might want to think about having a system like this in your boat just for the next time you go fishing. Let me talk about those when we come back. Welcome back to Mark Fisher Outdoors, everybody. I'm Mark Fisher, and today I want to talk about you thinking about putting a GoPro in your boat when you go fishing. And I think there are 3 reasons that you might want to consider doing this. Number 1, it's a great way just to, you catch that fish of a lifetime and you've got it. When you set up a GoPro like I've got set up here using a YOLOTek stick called the Boom, and you have it on there, once you have it and you turn it on, it's on for the rest of the day. You don't ever think about it again. So you go about your day, and if you happen to, doesn't matter whether it's the last catch of the day or in the middle of the day or the first catch, you've got a video recording of everything that happened that day. So if you catch that lunker and now you've got it on video that you can show for whatever reason, whether it's to post it on social media or just to keep it or have that video, whatever it is that you want, it's there. And it's kind of a neat thing to be able to go back to the video and have it and watch it and relive it. So that's my number 1 reason to think about putting a GoPro in the boat. Number 2, and this really is when I started thinking about this, remember that situation that happened with, what was the captain's name? Captain Brock, right? That kid, fishing by the bridge and the captain jumps on his boat. Had he, you never know when something out of the ordinary is going to happen. And it may not be a confrontation. Hopefully it isn't a confrontation. But you never know when something's going to happen. You all of a sudden, there's something that happens in the water. The Loch Ness Monster comes out. And having the video running gives you the opportunity to catch that on video. And you never know when something's going to happen. It could be the Captain Brock situation. It could be just kind of a neat nature thing that happens. This, to be honest, it happened with me when I went back, the whole thing that happened with the accident on Smith Lake. I didn't know until I went back and looked at the footage that I had footage of that striper boat as I was going by. And it was way off in the distance, but because of the way the camera is focused, it faces the front, and out there in the distance, I had it. And then when I zoomed in, saw it closer. So it's amazing what you see in that camera footage. And sometimes those things get captured on that video so that you can go back and look at it. So that's the second reason, is to, just in case something happens. And the third reason, quite honestly, and this is something that I find, is that yes, when I'm putting out content, you don't see 99% of the video that I shoot each tournament day. I'm just basically showing takeoff and fishing and fish catches and things like that. But there will be things that I will look at when it comes to how was I moving my rod? What was I doing when I got that? And there are things that I may not realize in the moment, but as I'm looking at the video footage, I'll realize, wait a minute, that's interesting. I had paused my retrieve just before I got a strike, or I had sped up my retrieve, or I was working my rod tip or whatever, and seeing it in the video makes you aware of it when you weren't aware of it when it was actually happening. And so being able to go back and actually study the game film from when you were fishing is actually a useful technique. Now, I realize it's expensive to do it. Let's talk about what some of the prices are. A GoPro camera for a good one is going to be about $300, a little under $300. The boom, which I like the best, there are other YOLO sticks that are available that YOLOtek makes, but I like this one. It's called the Boom. I think it's called the Boom Micro or something like that. It fits in the seat hole for my Phoenix here, and that's about $125 or something along those lines. By the time you get an SD card that'll, go for 8 hours or maybe even, longer, that'll cost you some money. And I highly recommend having the cord attachment. Get that so that it's being powered right off your main battery. My cord goes straight to my main battery and plugs in there. That way I'm not dealing with little GoPro batteries. That is very frustrating when that thing, those batteries last 40 minutes or half hour or something like that, and you're constantly changing batteries in your GoPro. But when you have it wired directly to your main battery, that camera runs all day. You never think about it again. You start it at the beginning of your day when you go, and to be honest, it runs until I shut my power off after I'm off the water. I'm curious as to what you guys think. Is it just too much money to think about doing it, or are there some values that would make it a neat idea for you to do? Being a content creator, I'm going to have to do it, but I'm curious as to what you think. And Father's Day is coming up in a little bit. Maybe that's the thing to ask for Father's Day. You're tired of getting ties and they don't know what kind of lures to buy for you and things like that, but ask them to get you a GoPro with a YOLOtek boom stick and put that in your boat. Maybe that's a Father's Day gift. I don't know. I'm curious as to what you think about it, guys, but I think that there's some value to it. Those three things: the catch the fish of a lifetime on video, you never know when something's going to happen and you're able to have it on video, and number three, as a learning, kind of thing for you to kind of watch your game films. And by the way, if you go fishing that day and nothing really exciting happened, all you got to do is wipe your SD card clean, and then you're ready to go. That's what I will save the footage that I want to save onto my phone, and then wipe my SD card and use it over the very next day. So you don't have to worry about saving, all of this footage on SD cards over and over and over again. You can kind of save the stuff you want, wipe it clean, and go out and do it again tomorrow using the same SD card. Guys, I appreciate you watching, and I'd love to hear your comments on it. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I think it's a good idea. Let me know what you think, and we will see you tomorrow for our tournament recap video from Pickwick. It's not going to be pretty, but those fish were good fish, so we'll show you that stuff tomorrow. Take care, everybody.